Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. Do you realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world? Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Alright, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I welcome Rex, VK7MO, into the studio. Hello Rex.
Hello Justin.
I'll just do Acknowledgement of Country to start off with, in deep recognition of the history and culture of this island. We'd like to acknowledge and pay our respects to all Tasmanian Aboriginal people, the traditional owners upon which the land we present on tonight. Now, the reason I've got Rex in the studio is the latest and greatest amateur radio magazine appeared in the mailbox and email, which is labelled Recycle, Refurbish and Repurpose. And there was, as I'm flicking through here thinking, oh, this would make a good thing that we could review in the DATV night, I come across the wonderful article by Chris Skier, VK5 Mike Charlie, about the Ron Wilkinson, who was VK3ZER and VK3AKC Achievement Award. And I'm reading through this and going, oh, yes, I know about this award. And I'm reading through and it said, under setting records, Ron set the national distance record when on the 12th of September 1964 he had a contact on 432 megahertz with Rex, VK3 OB,
Yes.
OB, not CB, now VK7MO. Ron was on Mount Buninyong and Rex was on Mount Worth in Gippsland, and the distance was a whacking great 119.7 miles, which is 192.6 kilometres, using valve equipment at the time.
I've still got the transmitter.
Oh wow! Okay, so he actually goes on because he says a QQE03-20 tripling from 144 megahertz, and it was not a simple matter as some 300 volts had to be generated from a DC to DC converter for the high tension supply for portable work. So yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
that's right.
And you had a 7-element Yagi. Ron gave a readability 5 and a strength 6 report to Rex, who gave Ron a readability 5 and strength 6 to 7.
Right.
So I relayed this to Rex, and Rex said, have I got a deal for you? Because, and I didn't realise he was going to bring this in, this is we'll go to the close-up camera. this is from one Mr. David Rankin, who at the time, well, you just told me David Rankin was the manager of High Q Crystals.
That's right.
So yeah.
And he was the John Martin of the day, or now the Kevin
the
Johnson of the day.
the Federal Activities Manager for the WIA.
Right.
And this is the notification. The notification. The distance involved in your contact with VK3ZER portable Mount Buninyong on 432 MHz has been computed as 119.7 miles. This is somewhat less than your claim, but it is the best we can do. I love it. But then a little bit of a prediction made here. This now becomes the Australian record. Congratulations. Details will appear in AR shortly. What is the next one? Question mark. VK3 to VK7? Question mark. Best of luck, David Rankin.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely outrageous. I just, and it's dated the 3rd of November 1964. Now, I wasn't even born, Rick. I was still 2 years away at that stage.
Well, I should tell you a bit more of a story about what was happening on Mount Worth.
Okay. Tell me.
I was up there with my girlfriend.
Oh,
who
okay.
Basically became my wife.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay.
And we sort of struggled up this very rough road and set up all the gear, and I it all had to be run on a car battery. It didn't have a generator or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was dragging so much out of the car battery that you had to sort of time it so you're only... And, of course, in those days you didn't have mobile phones or anything for liaison, so you had to start off on 2 metres and so forth. Anyway, we were staying at Leongatha, which is not that far from Mount Worth, at my subsequent wife's sister's place.
Okay.
And with all this excitement, it got to the point where it actually got dark before we completed this.
Okay.
And
a flattening battery.
Well, and I went to turn around, and as soon as I got off the road, I got bogged.
Oh no.
And then in the dark, we're digging the car out and trying to get back to Leongatha. So what you do for a 432 meg record, Australian record.
Which doesn't end up in the record. That's all the other stuff that doesn't end up in the record.
Yes, that's right.
So now Rex also, one of the things that jumped out at me here, Rex is also the recipient of the Ron Wilkinson Achievement Award, which is this whole story is about. It goes through the many things that Ron got into with EME and Enter EME. He set some additional records. Started to play with dishes. Then Enter EME. He had a contact between technical reports from the States about EME. Spent 5 months building a 20-foot or a 6.1 metre dish, and some help from Peter McEwen, VK3ACL and Trevor Niven, then VK5ZTN. Quite a lightweight dish, and you can see here it is quite a lightweight dish here. There's Ron in his cap with his prediction printouts.
Yeah.
It makes comment from moon position printouts from the US Naval Research Laboratory were a key tool for Ron.
Yeah. Sort of things we can do on Moonscape on our PC nowadays.
Well, you go onto the net, and that's there, really. And then moon bounce success on 23 centimetres, and it basically finally ended up as the WIA recognising him in the Ron Wilkinson Achievement Award, which we'll show you a couple of examples of the Ron Wilkinson Achievement Award. If you hold that up, Rex, we've got it on the front of a big folder. So we're going. I'm probably going to have to. Oh, there we go. The Ron Wilkinson Achievement Award. Now, what I'll read, it's to Rex, in recognition of outstanding achievement in consistently demonstrating the true spirit of amateur experimentation and imparting his knowledge for the interest of others. So there you go. Now, can I just say, on Sunday, and there'll be something on the, hopefully on the broadcast around this, on Sunday, Martin Luther mentioned that he had his list of 39 23 centimetre capable amateurs in southern Tasmania. That's only southern Tasmania. There's at least probably five or more in northern Tasmania.
Yes.
But there are now, what he's got on his list, 39 at least 23 centimetre capable amateurs in southern Tasmania, which in no small part is actually due to your efforts, your antenna workshops, your talks up here, enthusing people. You're running all over the country giving people grid squares and all sorts of stuff, which is just outrageous. You're running off to Hawaii to try and set records and all sorts of stuff. Oh my God. So it's quite topical that the words, and in a Ron Wilkinson Award, it's always that paragraph that you read as to why they got the award. So I think that's very relevant, Rex, because you've gone on for, and what was the date on that certificate?
There's no date on it.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It'll be in the record on the website, I reckon. There'll be a date next to that. It's interesting. It's number one, it's Michael Owen's signature, which is a rarity in the first place. But he's crossed out federal, so it was when it was post 2004
when it became
a national body.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I think that's very relevant, Rex.
Thank you.
I think that's fantastic. Now, another example of the Ron Wilkinson Award,
Yeah.
which I just pulled it off the wall. But this is 2007, I think. 2007? I think that's 2007. That's also Michael's signature that's fading. But this was presented to me in 2007, and in fact it was you who presented it, I think. I think it might have been you that presented it to me. And the paragraph is, as President of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, faced with Australia's major trial of BPL, so broadband over power line technology, by undertaking measurements, producing a video and effectively using the Reast website, was able to generate a focused concern about the undesirable effects of that technology among radio amateurs and others.
Yeah.
So it's always, the Ron Wilkinson Award, you've always got to read the paragraph as to why it was presented to who it was presented to, because it outlines what the board believes is the reason for the Achievement Award. So and the key thing here, and this is a quote that appears in the article, is nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. So and that was the key thing about Ron Wilkinson. So and there's a wonderful picture of there's on, and then there's a bigger version there. So
Yeah.
of him. So anyway, I just thought, there you go.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Go. Now stick around, Rex, because there's a funny story I want to impart. For those who have been communicating with me on probably Facebook and Messenger and a few other things, Con Kley, and in fact very relevant to the BPL trial, Con Kley is VK7HCK, who used to be up at Mount Nelson. Used to live up at Mount Nelson, just across the road from where Harvey Skegg lives. And so, Con was one of the ones who put in the complaint to the ACMA about BPL at the time. And I remember visiting Con, and he showed me in his backyard this wonderful wire Yagi, HF Yagi. And the key thing about this Yagi is, and you can see down the bottom, so we just to give you a scale here, this is about just over 2 metres in length for each of the booms, and then it's about 10 metres between the booms, and there is a 20 metre reflector, a 15 metre reflector, a 10 metre reflector, and then down here you've got the driven element, which has got a 20, a 15 and a 10 dipole, half-wave dipole on it. So, and it hangs so that it hangs horizontally, and the beauty of it is, if you get the orientation right, where it's pointed in the direction that you actually want to go, short path, long path, you can pull the coax and turn it around, and so it's pointed in the other direction. So the coax, there's a little hairpin matching section here, and the coax is connected obviously up here to the dipole. And what you can do is, if you balance these two booms in the right place, you can actually pull the coax and move that driven element and everything and flip it over,
I see,
so that it points in the other direction. And Con absolutely raved about this. He had one of these strung between 2 trees up at Mount Nelson, and absolutely raved about it. He said this was my first foray into directional HF antennas, and I have to say, I usually use a G5RV, which is a stock standard 102 foot dipole. I built this and put it up, and I'll just show you, because there's some photos, there's some funny photos that I just want to share with you, because when I built it, this is what I built. Now, so this is, oh, hang on, let me just, there we go. So this is what I built. Now, would you say that that's 10 metres between the booms?
Is that what it's supposed to be?
That's what it's supposed to be. And when I built it, I did some receiving on it. I could sort of tune it up. It was a bit touchy around the tuning because the ATU couldn't quite deal with a few of the other bands. And I happened to send this photo to Con, and I said, I've built it. And I said, I'm not sure that the performance is that, anything to rave about.
Is this feet and metres?
Well, not quite feet and metres, but if you have a look at, and there you go, when I looked at this, I wrote these in, but when I looked at this, I went, it's 1,065 centimetres. Well, that's a metre .065.
Yeah.
And that's what I built, which is why it ends up about a metre between those booms. So,
you thought it was millimetres?
I thought it was millimetres, well and truly.
Okay.
Now, I then, this is a bit harder to see, but that is the right dimensions,
Right.
which is there's 10 metres between the booms. So, and you can see the driven element is here. It's actually pointed short path to Warren at Casey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that's why I'm building it. That's because I need to improve my path to Warren at Casey, because I haven't had very much luck. And then you'll see there is a 10 metre, a 15 metre and a 20 metre reflector. and so, but the whole irony of this, which is this is exactly what I then actually wrote. It's 10.65 meters. That's what it actually is, and then I rearranged it so that it was the right configuration. But the irony is, I'm reading a book right at the moment, which is called Humble Pie by Matt Parker. Now, Matt Parker is actually a comedian, but he's also a mathematician by trade, and it's the comedy of maths errors. And it's all about some fairly, some quite funny stories, but also some very sobering stories, because...
The Mars lander?
That is one of them, yes. And also the plane on the front of here, you'll notice that the plane actually looks a little bit strange, because you'll notice that the wings are actually on the wrong way and pointed in the wrong direction, and a few others. And it's a sideways reference to there was a plane flight in Canada that went from one side of Canada to the other, where they were just in the process of changing from imperial to metric, and when they filled the plane, they actually filled it by what mass, by weight, not by volume, and then did a conversion error between pounds and kilograms anyway. So they basically 2 times didn't put enough fuel in the plane, and due to a train of events, the fuel gauges weren't working either because of some sensor issues that were overlooked. And fortunately, the plane was able to land in a field, but they had to belly flop the plane belly flop into a military airfield, which was being used by some go-karters at the time.
Oh dear.
who suddenly realised that there was a 767 trying to come in to the airfield. Quite unknown to them, but it's just the irony of I'm reading a book about mathematical errors, and what do? I make a mathematical error. Anyway, so that's. But can I just say the dipole in the full length that it's supposed to be, where is it? I have contacted Lord Howe Island, Bosnia, Latvia, France, and I've had consistent 5657 reports. Lord Howe was short path and Europe was long path.
Oh, you can rotate yours?
Sorry?
You can do the flip with yours?
Yeah. Well and truly. I can do the flip. And I've also made a contact with Warren, although it was pretty dodgy because it was about a 3-in-1 report. It was, but we certainly made it, and we exchanged signal reports without any assistance. So we've certainly done that. What we're wanting to do though is try a bit of grey line down to Casey to see whether we can't get some lift from the grey line. So, but anyway, that's I just thought you'd laugh at the fact that I'm actually reading a book on mathematical errors, and what did I do when I made the Yagi? I made a mathematical error. And the thing about it was I made the mathematical error. I did make the mathematical error in the lengths of these elements, but not in the boom spacing. The boom spacing was fine.
Oh, I see.
So it was 1/10 the length, but the boom spacing was right. So yeah, I'm not sure that that's quite right. But anyway, put the Con's actually posted this to the Wire Antenna Facebook page, and I'll also put this in the video description down below. So, but it's certainly better. It's obviously better because it's.
How long ago was that?
This was 2001.
Okay.
November 2001. So, out of QST magazine by Markus Hansen, who was VE7CA, so he was Canadian. And he does go into
Can you explain how you flip it with the coax?
Well, the what you've got to do is with the side. Hang on, I'm doing this on the. With these side ropes, you have to do a little bit of playing with where that point is. So that point is actually slightly in the direction of the driven element, because the driven element is obviously a lot heavier than
So what is that point? Is that connected to a rope?
So that's connected to a rope that goes off to your pole or your tree or whatever.
Yes.
And you've got exactly the same thing over here. You've got the same over here. What you do is you find that balance point which is slightly in this direction from centre, and so it puts the Yagi in a horizontal fashion when it's sitting there.
Yes.
Then if you grab the coax, you can literally pull that whole driven element down and flip it over, and it literally flips 180 degrees, and so you've got the driven element on the other side pointing in the other direction. And then you flip it back. So basically, if you align it to your long and short path directions that you actually want to work, you can literally flip from long path to short path just literally by going out and pulling the coax.
Amazing.
And it's as the article says, it's designed to be put in the car. You do it basically for portable field days and that sort of thing. So you find two suitable trees that you can string it up between, and you've basically got okay, it's only a 2-element Yagi, so you're not talking about a lot more gain. That's 5 or 6 dB more gain than a dipole, but you've literally got a 2-element Triband Yagi that performs reasonably well. So. And the guy that wrote it talks about it. He runs a lot of QRP, so he talks about his QRP transmitter puts out 3 watts, but with the Yagi he's got effective radiated power of about 9.5. So okay, he talks about solar cycle 23 is in full swing. Well, that's well and truly gone because it's 2001. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, and Con absolutely. Swears by the antenna, so I thought, no, if Con swears by it, I'm there. I'm going to see how good this.
Con's still got one up?
No, he's gone to actual Yagis. Con's now up in Devonport, operates from Devonport, and he did send me some photos of his Yagis, so multi-band Yagis or monoband Yagis of what he's using. So very impressive, some very impressive arrays up there. So and certainly he's worked Warren a couple of times and 5.6 type reports. So anyway, that's.
What sort of antennas Warren using?
He's using a inverted V dipole, but the advantage that he's got is he's got very little noise at all. So, and in fact, the next segment that I want to do is on some propagation tools that I've come across. So and the propagation tools enable you to put in the antennas at either end, and also your noise, what you think your noise floor is, and it's the ITU noise floors of quiet rural residential city, and it goes up in levels. So yeah, and hello to Anthony AG7AG, and also Ron VK7WRC. Well, there you go. Who's up in Kempsey, New South Wales at the moment. So greetings, Ron. On our way down south now. So there you go. And sporting his new call sign of VK7 Whiskey Romeo Charlie. So there you go. W. Ron Cullen. So yes. So Ron's got his foundation call now. So and we've got training and assessment day on Saturday, and I think we've got 3 people coming along. So so it should be good. Another 3 amateurs to get on the bands. So yeah. Now you're welcome to stick around for the propagation tools if you want to, or you can disappear, or what?
I might disappear.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And very good, Rex. And it's good to see you here up at the club rooms.
I hope I'm not poisoning anybody.
Nah. So, so there are two tools I just want to have a very quick look at tonight. One is called Proppy, as in propagation. So Proppy, and I'll put the links to these in the notes, the video notes below. Proppy, and both these tools are all online, so you don't need to install anything. You can use them all online. It's fantastic. The Proppy HF prediction tool it goes through all of the various standards that it uses, the ITU standards, etc. There are 4 areas of Proppy. So one is you can put in the characteristics of your station, which we'll do in a sec, and get an area plot of basic signal noise and a few other settings. Then you can put a point to point, so you can put 2 long lats in, and then the characteristics of each end and the particular frequency you're wanting to work, or do a prediction on which is the best frequency. So that's the point to point. There are various IARU beacons around the place, so you can put in a location and it should give you what it predicts you could hear. And then there's a planner if you're so you can plan ahead. Now I'm just going to cover the area and the point to point. So one of the, just let me, here we go. So this is the area plot. So what I've put in here, you can put in the date, the type of contact. So the traffic, they talk about traffic here. Whisper, FT8, CW, SSB, usable, marginal or commercial, and then there's a whole lot of others that are in here, and data paths and all sorts of stuff. So we put in SSB usable, put in a frequency, so it's 20 meters, put in 100 watts. Now this is the noise, so man-made noise. City is the highest, residential, rural, quiet, or noisy. I've put in residential because that's the area I'm in. I put in my longitude and latitude. There is a few antennas here. One of the things, the second tool that I'll show you has a few more of these options, so it might be worth having a look at both of these tools. The bearing, if it is an antenna that it has gain in a particular direction, so you can put the bearing in. The estimated gain, and then the receiver site estimated gain is what you put in here. You can then run the prediction. So now there is basic circuit reliability. Now this is one measurement, basic circuit reliability. There's signal to noise, and then there is signal strength. So most of us probably use signal to noise type ratios. So let's set it for that, and we push the run the prediction. So and it's done it. So you can see on 14 megs. That's me. That's my home location in Tasmania, South Hobart. It shows you the TX. It then gives you, with this signal to noise scale here on the side, so -10, 0, 10, 20, 30, etc., you can see in a particular direction, I've got it in the 208 degrees direction, which is actually in the direction of Casey. You can see this is the lighter of the blue, and then there's a bit of green here into probably, what would that be? That would be where Mawson is, I reckon, or so, maybe Davis. Those that know would know better than me. Casey's over here, Davis, Mawson, maybe Davis. So this green gives us, it's between 10 and 20 dB of signal to noise. So that's not bad, although it's coming out of a 0 to 10 dB area, and you can see reasonable coverage of most of Antarctica and then up into the Pacific. So that's the area, the circuit prediction area plot that enables. Come in, Alan. Come in here. Yes. So I was just, you know where Casey, Davis, and Mawson are.
Yep. I noticed you don't.
Well, I know Casey is 208 degrees bearing from Tasmania.
Yep.
Davis is back over here, isn't
No.
it? No, Davis is over here.
Yep.
That's in the other direction.
That's
So Mawson's here.
No, Mawson's further than Davis.
Ah.
So, I can't point to there, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, it's pretty touchy.
I've lost. Oh,
There it is. Go that way. Go that way, and it'll come out on here.
what?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there
yeah,
we go.
okay. So Davis is somewhere down there
Okay.
on that side of Prids Bay,
Okay.
and Mawson is just in about there.
Ah. Okay.
Okay.
So it's miles away.
Yeah.
It's not in that green bit.
No, it's not in that green bit. That's more.
Like it's directly below us.
That's almost Commonwealth Bay,
Oh, okay.
except it's a bit further over, and of course we've got McMurdo and whatever down over here somewhere
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
at about -80.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So-
Good book, by the way.
Oh yes. Yeah. No, I thought you
Gimli Glider is what you wanted.
Gimli glider. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's the area plot from Proppy.
I'm interested in this because I'm trying to do the same thing.
Oh, okay. So if we just go back here, if we go to the point-to-point plot, so now if I push the right button, so prediction, so point-to-point. So what it's expecting you to do here is there is some system parameters in here. So we've put in SSB usable. Signal to noise, you've got 100 watts, you've got your noise level, which I've set at residential, long or short path, and we'll show you what changes that. I've put in here, that's my location, and I'll put in that I've got a 2-element Yagi at 10 metres, which is what we just demonstrated, what we just showed. We will put in -66.2821.
Just north of the Antarctic Circle.
There you go.
It's
And
not south.
well, there you go. Yeah. And that might be. Is that one of the reasons why it's actually hard for us to contact them on HF?
No, I don't think so.
So that's Casey. Isotropic antenna. We've got a dipole at. We'll be generous and say 10 metres.
It's hard to give a height because where he is, there is effectively no ground
Oh yeah, good point.
because the ground is sterile.
Yes. Okay. I understand that comment.
Yes.
Okay. So transmitter site, receiver site. Let's run the prediction. Okay. So it's certainly picked up the right places. That's good. Now, so bottom scale is time in UTC. So what we've got here is an average plot and then an area plot based on frequency. So if we're talking about, that's 5, 10, 15. So 20 metres is about here. There is not bad. So we're talking about reliability. Hang on, let's go to signal to noise. That's better. Because that's BCR. So 20 metres, we come across here. This is 10 o'clock, 12, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So somewhere in there, you've got about a 10 to 20 dB signal to noise.
So it's well into our darkness.
Getting into.
Yeah.
And in fact, what I want to do with Warren is try a grey line exercise, and I set that up with him tonight. He was on kitchen duty last night, so I couldn't do it last night.
Yeah. Have you seen his pictures?
Yes. So we'll do that. We might do that tomorrow night if he's free, but it's totally up to his schedule. It's not mine. Yeah. But you can see, so this is around about your grey line type arrangement, and you can see that there is around that 20 metre area a better chance. So yeah. So this is the point to point, and you can play with these parameters. You can put in here because, like, let's go to Whisper. So you've got really weak signal and quite weak signal, narrow bandwidth type mode. You do a little bit better. You do a bit better. So, which is that's what you'd expect. So yeah.
Okay. I'll just butt in with something here. When we had go back to that map.
Okay.
When we had HF running down there, Casey used to have a 24-hour circuit with Sydney on HF. It was a telegraph on radio circuit, but they also used it for other stuff as well.
What was the frequency?
That's what I'm coming to.
Oh, okay.
So don't
sorry.
jump the gun. So the TOR was on lower sideband and upper sideband was used for voice and basically voice for raddies when they had raddies. Now the standard daytime frequency for the summerish half of the year was 15845.
Okay.
Which tallies pretty well for that. The nighttime. Now Herman would be the person for this because he was at Casey. I was at Davis and Mawson, and our frequencies were slightly different.
And you had a permanent circuit to Sydney? Or did you go by Casey?
No, we talked to Sydney direct, but it was on when we wanted it for raddies. Okay. That's the only time we had it. All our telegraph traffic we used to send to Casey.
Yep.
And then they distributed it to Sydney. Mawson was actually the gateway. Mawson also sent it to Pretoria, Kerguelen,
and
a whole heap of other places.
Pretoria, Kerguelen, somewhere in here.
Yeah. Where else? Sanai, well, that's the South Africans. JPY, which was the Japanese station.
Okay.
So we distributed. Mawson was the gateway that accepted everybody's and then transmitted it to all the others in our part of the world.
Okay.
But when the nighttime frequency for Casey from memory would have been 9940.
Okay. Let's put in.
But remember, Sydney is another how many thousand? Another 1,000 kilometres north of us.
Yeah, well and truly it's
so
up here.
That's another half hop during the daytime. Daytime hops are about 2,000 kilometres.
So during the night, we're in here, and what was it?
9940, just less than 10.
Which is
the next one down from there was 7922.5.
Yep. Okay. Well,
So-
it's in the
and in
range.
and in winter, they'd be lower 12,255 possibly through daytime,
Yep.
and nighttime possibly down 6,850.
Let's go to June
And
and,
ye-
do a
And
reprediction.
yes, I haven't been south for many years, and these numbers are permanently etched in my
look at that.
brain.
It went down.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
all went down.
it would. Yeah.
So, and then we go to summer. So let's go to summer back to January and see everything will come up,
Come
I
up.
assume.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. It's get that sharper.
sure, not really.
And that's 5, 10. So that's in 20 metres. That'd be
Yeah,
just below
yeah,
20 metres.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when we wanted to work raddies, and if 15845 didn't work for Davis or Mawson, we had to get on to Casey and tell them to get Sydney to move their receive frequency to where we wanted it to be.
Okay.
And Casey would lose their circuit for a little while.
Yep. Okay.
The interesting thing there was that Davis, even though it's closer, even though it was closer than Mawson, used to run a frequency higher than Mawson. So if Mawson was running 15845, Davis had run 17480.
Okay.
And if Mawson was on 14415, Davis would be on 15845. And in 1981 we were using
14145. Hang on, that's an amateur.
14415,
415. Okay.
Yeah.
415.
just above the amateur band.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah.
useful.
Yep.
We used to use 19255 in summer from Davis in 1981, and yeah, the others used to use 17480 or.
And this is using the big rhombics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so this was for rad phones,
Yeah.
which we had 2 of twice a day. But sometimes we'd just try all the frequencies trying to get through, and none would be particularly good, and
Yep.
we'd say goodbye to raddies for the day.
Yep. Okay.
Anyway, so interesting to try and get. I was thinking earlier in the afternoon would have been the go for 20 metres to Casey, but yeah, I like what you say. It tallies up with what I've been observing on the waterfall the last few days. That early afternoon it's pretty dead, and from about 3, 4 o'clock on it starts getting very lively.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So I just this is good confirmation. This is
Yeah.
so what I might do is there was another prediction tool which is VOACAP, VOACAP, which is the
Voice of America.
Voice of America data.
While I was travelling a couple of months ago, I tried to talk to him a few times
Okay.
from various locations,
Yep.
from Broome,
Okay.
which is almost due north of him.
Yeah, up here. Yep.
We knew each other was there. I was severely restricted because I was using a mobile whip,
Okay.
and I should have driven on to Cable Beach. I think that would have been the go.
And put a wire in the water.
No, just drive onto Cable Beach and
Okay.
operate from the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And also from Northern Territory and Queensland up the
Yep.
top end. But
Okay.
we knew each other were there most of the time, but that's about all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've still got to do it from here.
Well, he has contact according to the log. Jerry VK7EE
Yeah, he told me that. That
And-
really annoyed me.
and Gary a few times. JGD a couple of times.
Yeah, I think they've all got
And
better aerials than me.
HCK a couple of times. So Con up in Devonport, but
Yeah.
Con's got a pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've got no
Arrangement.
real aerial at present.
So you need one of these. You need one of these.
I'm trying to get a dipole up in the next week. Yeah, I saw that. Neat. Neat. I like the error.
And the fact that I'm reading that at the time, I just God, blimey.
No, that was good. I enjoyed all that.
And you saw the picture. You saw the picture.
Yes. Yes.
Everything's really small.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking when I made it, I went, "This is really good because it's really nice and compact
really
and
small. That should have been a hint.
Correct. And when I showed it to Con, and he went, "That's a bit small."
You'd had a hard day's work, and your brain was sort of going slowly, right?
And the brain thing is, you get on this course, and it doesn't matter. You just keep on this course. You know, it's a bit like lemmings, all the way to the edge and off.
Everybody's done it. I can't think of an example for me, but I can guarantee you I have.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So
we should have been trying later.
So, which is, so the grey line, I'm very interested to see whether there's any grey line left.
Oh, yeah, you said you were going to flip it to long path as well.
Oh, yes, sorry. Whoops. You're spot on. So,
interesting.
Go down, short path, go to long path, and then redo the prediction.
Have you still got the frequency right?
You
didn't change it.
But forget it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Absolutely forget it for those two.
Yeah.
And you can see what it does on this side is draw the long path lines. So
something really interesting there for Antarctic people. Can I have the mouse again?
Yeah.
You'll notice that...
go that way. Where are you?
Should have been.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
You'll notice that we hit Casey here.
Yep.
And I said Mawson is just about. See that little promontory there? It's just to the left of that.
Okay.
And Davis is over here in this bay. Have you noticed that all 3 Australian stations are basically on the same Great Circle line? So our
design?
No. Really worked out well. Our rhombics at Casey
are all pointed.
If it went one way for Sydney, it went the other way to get Davis and Mawson.
I love it.
And likewise for here. So we just used to feed it from either end of the rhombic and so, and everybody's in the same direction from Mawson.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Sydney just points in the same direction all the time.
Yeah. Unless they want to do Macquarie Island, which is down here somewhere.
So what antennas did they have in Sydney? Did they have big rhombics or something?
That was OTC. You'd have to ask them.
Okay, right then.
Even though I worked for OTC prior to going down there, I didn't know. But they used to say, "Why don't you work Perth because it's a bit closer?" Actually, it's only a couple of 100 miles different from Mawson to Perth than it is from Mawson to Tassie on Great Circle Path.
There you go.
If you want it radio, it's fine, but if you want to go by ship, it's a bit of a problem going to Mawson from Tassie on the Great Circle because the icebreaker just can't manage this
this big bitty here.
1,000 metre thick ice. Yeah, it's a bit much for it.
Right, right. Okay.
So anyway, that's really good, Justin.
There you go.
Liked all that.
Proppy. Yeah. So I'll leave VOCAP, which is the Voice of America data set, for next time. There's a few more things that you can do with the VOCAP stuff, and it is based on it's like 20 years of data of.
I've got a vague idea. We used to look at it while I was down there in '97.
Okay.
But we generally worked on what worked the one day would work the next day.
Yep.
And followed it through the seasons. It worked better on a slightly lower frequency, and you'd follow it down for winter and up for summer.
Okay.
The lowest frequency for point-to-point circuits we had was 4040.
Okay.
So just above 80 metres, and that was occasionally used for raddies from down there. It was dark down there permanently, of course, in winter.
Correct.
So,
Now, we'll wrap up. Going back to amateur radio, you'll enjoy this.
I like the Ron AKC one too.
Yeah, we did that.
I lived in Melbourne. I used to talk to him, and I visited him a few times in Geelong.
There you go. Now, did Rex show you his certificate?
No, he was doing it on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just there's a bit of irony in this as well. One of the other articles in here is by Dale Hughes, VK1DSH, which is, and as it turned out, I was walking through Salamanca this morning, having got my coffee, and who should be sitting there at the Retro Cafe having breakfast but Dale Hughes?
Oh, he's down here, isn't he?
He's down here. Yeah. He's calibrating some equipment. So okay. I sat and talked to him for a little while.
You should have got him to come up here.
So, well, he was going back this afternoon.
Oh, damn.
So,
I keep meaning to contact him again.
So, what? He has written a wonderful article about using old uniselectors and an Arduino to come up with a Arduino-based 12-line automatic telephone intercom exchange.
Yes, I read that article and... Oh,
so
should I be drinking in here?
So he goes through using and I'll show you this, and then we'll go to a demonstration. When I prepared earlier, literally earlier. This is his 2 uniselector. Arduino based. There's a whole board of relays in there as well, and the little Arduino.
You're going to get me crying shortly.
And for his home, so he's got basically a 12-line arrangement there. Now, one of the
a proper telephone exchange.
Proper telephone exchange, exactly.
And each end had their own equipment that belonged to them.
Now, guess what?
Oh.
One I prepared earlier. Now, if you would like to...
Oh, it's round there.
It's round there. If you would like to go around there and lift the handset and dial... just stand aside, sideways. Yeah, that's it. And dial 0. That's usually the most effect.
Oh, 1. And then when you hang up, it should
no, it doesn't reset. I haven't got it wired that way.
Yeah, okay.
But it shows. It's a very old uniselector. And this is a decadic dial, so it actually counts the number that you dial in.
Hello. Oh, it's a 25, but... Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I always remember going into the Adelaide Telephone Exchange, and the Adelaide Telephone Exchange at the time when they had uniselectors in there was a very noisy place.
Oh, they're lovely, aren't they? I did my training on I did training on a lot of things. Telephone exchanges was one of them. Line finders, SE50s, pre-Strowger, crossbar, electronic.
Well, he does talk about the very first one. That's a
SE50. Did I say SE50?
This is the bidirectional motion sensor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was generally the one at the end.
Correct.
Yeah. The last.
So
that gave you 100 locations for subs.
So this is
Oh my God, that's going back 50 years.
This not only does the rotation to do all these contacts, but it also goes up and down these contacts.
Yep, in levels.
So it takes care of, the area code coming in, then the location, exchange location, then the actual number.
Yeah, that's in all the switches. But yeah.
So this was the bee's knees. This is I've never actually I haven't actually seen one of these.
I've seen one of those in a million pieces.
Oh,
they used to make us pull them into a million pieces and then reassemble them, and then set them up to work properly.
Again,
set the tension on all the little contacts and get the correct delays.
I love it. But anyway, I just happened to have one of those all wired up,
Okay.
and I thought I'll
Yeah.
and I said to Dale this morning, I said, I loved your article, and he actually said, well, at least one person's read it.
Well, I've read most of it. I just looked at the pictures of the switches and
So
thought horrible thoughts. We had a 50-line exchange down at Mawson.
okay.
Didn't have line finders though. It was made in India, but
Okay.
yeah. More at Casey, I don't know, and Davis, they gave me a mini crossbar exchange to install in 1981 to replace the party line that we had, which worked very well.
Okay.
Because it meant that no matter where you were on the station, if you heard your ring, you could pick up the phone and you knew it was for you.
Yeah. Okay.
But I installed it, but I never connected it because they never sent down the drums of cable to go between all the buildings. So that was a bit... Yeah,
Okay.
never mind.
Okay.
That happens on these big jobs.
I love it.
Sorry to take over your show.
No. Well, this is what it is all about. It is absolutely all about. Now, it would be very remiss of me not to. Let's put this up here. Very remiss of me not to do a promotion of the conference. Now, can I just say hang on, what did I do just then?
Don't know. Back on propagation.
Yeah, what did I do just then?
Proper radio.
Proper radio.
None of this digital stuff.
Let's go here. That's better. So 5th and 6th of November, but one of the key things I'm going to point out here is our fantastic range of raffle prizes.
They're getting good.
Well, 705 transceiver, rig expert, antenna analyzer, nano VNA, Waxon dual band, $250 voucher, 122 gig complete transceiver, power SWR meter, diamond 2 meter 70 centimeter mobile antenna, amateur radio handbook, very, very nice handmade conference pens, thanks to Rick up in the northwest, who has been sending me pictures as he's been making them. So very impressive, and many more that are going to be given away on the day. So I just thought I'd bring that. And the only way you get a raffle ticket, or 7 or 8, is if you come along to either the conference or the expo.
Damn it, I'm going to have to do it, aren't I?
You are. So,
I've told the wife.
book now. Book now, or you're going to miss out on some fantastic prizes.
She tried to get me to go to something else, but this sounds better.
Well, it is on the weekend of Deloraine Craft Fair.
No,
But
she's got
you just
something else
you
on.
don't want to do that. You just don't want to do that. It's a whole day of wonderful presentations, and then an expo with lots of vendors, including, we have well and truly confirmed that ICOM are going to be there, and they may have something special.
Oh,
But
that will
I'm
be
not
interesting.
saying anything else.
Yeah, well, I won't say 905 either.
No. So, there you go. Watch this space. Now, just a reminder, we've got a training and assessment day on Saturday, so that's happening. I think we've got 3 people coming along. The 9th of October is the Military Radios and Antennas number 2 by Kim VK7KB.
Yep.
And what we are intending to do there actually is a lot of the military antennas that Kim has, what we're going to do is actually set them up. So actually show you how they go together and how they work. And then of course the 5th and 6th of November, which is the conference and expo. So that's our show for tonight. And thank you. Hang on, I better look to see whether there's any other comments. No. Okay, that's our show for tonight. Again, I'll do a fantastic book.
Yeah, and Matt Parker's YouTube
Oh.
things are priceless.
Correct. He is
good.
He is a comedian and a mathematician.
Yes.
And he combines the two. So that's him on the back.
Yep.
So yeah, Well worth a look, and he's got a couple of other books as well. So yeah, and has a very popular YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So there you go. Anyway, thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thanks for letting me take over, Jeff.
That's excellent. No, that's fine. That's fine. So next week, DATV will go into vocab and a few other things, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So 73, and we'll catch you. Have a good week. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, and beers.